This is Tom.
And Zeus.
From the Shout It Out Loudcast.
And this is Ace Frehley.
And this is Gene Simmons from Kiss. And you, the fan, are listening to The Hook Rocks with Jay Scott.
The ultimate rock community podcast.
Welcome back. It is The Hook Rocks. It's Jay Scott. Thanks for coming back and listening. I always appreciate it. End of summer is, or beginning of summer, I should say, end of spring is in the last stretch here. Weather's warming up. People are barbecuing. Sun is out. I know for those who've been listening, I've been kind of mentioning the weather here in Chicago. We're finally getting some consecutive days of sunlight. We went like 44 out of 46 days with rainfall. So hopefully that's behind us. But looking forward to the summer, looking forward to shows, looking forward to live concerts. So hopefully we don't get any rainouts like we've seen across the country, a lot of some of these festivals. But as I always mention, we are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, a great network of music related podcasts. All types of genres are represented on Pantheon Pods. You can check out my friends like Mac on the Ugly American Werewolf in London podcast, all the way out in England. He's a transplant from Florida. Don't forget to check out Tom and Zeus. Got to hang out with them on Creatures Fest this or last weekend in Nashville. So check out them. They're a great Kiss podcast. Decibel Geek with Aaron and Chris, and Martin Popoff, the rock historian, Mistress Carrie, and so many others out on Pantheon. Check out pantheonpodcast.com and follow them at Pantheon Pods on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow The Hook Rocks wherever you podcast as well. We're on every platform, so don't forget to set your app to automatic download so you get the latest episode anytime it does drop. And please write us a review on those apps too as well. Tell us what you think of the show, what you think of the podcast, and who we're having on and what we're talking about. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at The Hook Rocks on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So we're on all three, the big three. So go ahead and click follow or click whatever you do on those likes or friends or whatever you do. Just trying to build the Hook Rocks here, and we're really kind of focusing on Facebook and Instagram over the next period of time. So please check out those apps and social media platforms. We've also had some great shows here recently, so thank you for tuning in. We just did the wrap-up show for Creatures Fest, my experience, what it was all about. So I talk full length on the shows, the experience, the highlights, the lowlights, the train wrecks, and who I enjoyed seeing. So please give that a listen. Don't forget to check out Paul Jackson, the interview with Paul from Blackberry Smoke, which we just dropped last week. That's a great interview. We had 4 great new music spotlights in the month of May, like Native Sons, Stone Broken, and Band Inc., which was great, as well as Fast Eddie. We have Micah Morris, the singer, on there as well. Interview with her. Juliana interview from Band Inc. was awesome too as well. So check that out. They're a great band that good things are happening. Don't forget to check out Mark Tremonti's interview, Joe Satriani, as well as Eddie Trunk visited our show too. We talked the challenges facing new rock bands and artists. So we've got a lot of stuff for you to check out. So please do. And as always, we talk a lot about the new bands in the emerging rock scene, whether it's in North America, overseas, wherever. We're a big proponent of new rock, and we always like to showcase new bands. We've got a return guest for this episode, the first one for the month of June, and it's one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite persons in rock who I've had a chance to talk to. Wears his emotion on his sleeves. He's just raw and honest, and his music is absolutely phenomenal. The band is MTR Project. They've got a new album out called Always a Way Out. It's the follow-up to their EP in 2020, and it was released this past March, and we're going to be talking about it. I'd like to welcome in singer, guitar player, Martin Reed. What's happening, man?
Hey, Jay. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for doing this, man. It's been a while. It's been too long, and I'm glad that we're able to talk about new music with you guys.
Yeah, man. It's exciting to finally get to the point where we're seeing the physical product and all of that work coming together as one final. And it's not our final thing, of course. We're going to go out and put more music together. But just to hear it and have people writing us and telling us it's, they're happy with it too. And like the outpour has been amazing.
Yeah. The songs that have been released here, especially on your streaming platforms, like Beautiful Snake or Be the Change, Riverwalker, all great songs. One Day Closer to Tomorrow, just absolutely phenomenal in the development of your music. When we think of that MTR Project EP released in 2020 and we hear the music now, I mean, it seems like the band is a lot tighter. The writing is a lot more concise, and the music just absolutely blows my mind.
Well, I appreciate that a lot. I mean, you put it best when you said that it's a growing project. Like we're getting to a point where we're finally clicking when we come together, and the songs, we don't have any kind of a formula or anything like that. We just come together and make music that we love, And
when you're putting this together and you're in the studio and you're creating, how has that process differed from the EP released in 2020? I mean, the world's gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot of changes. How is this process different for you guys making this music?
Oh, it was very different. We went up to Andy Beach's house and we turned his wood shop where he built all of his guitars, most of his iconic ones, actually. And we turned that shop into a studio. I actually sang off of, I used a ladder and a broomstick as my mic stand because we ran out of mic stands for the drum set. And it was just, we were making honestly, it was just a demo, and we heard it and I was like, you know what? I think this is good enough. Let's put it out. And not just good enough. I think I said, how can we make it better? Was how I approached the band, and they're like, you're right. Let's send it to Don Gunn and have him do his magic. And Don does what he does. I mean, and he did it beyond our expectations. He took something that was raw and we did it all live. We recorded everything as a band and then did our overdubs, of course, but we did it all. The core of the songs are all live. We didn't use click or anything like that, so it ebbs and flows. That, I guess that's similar to how we did the EP. How we did the newer songs, though, we took a little bit longer before we went into the studio. We were already out doing shows again, and we decided to take our time. And I remember Andy just playing One Day Closer to Tomorrow, and I was like, what's that, man? And he's like, oh, it's the A without the me holding down the G. And I was like, cool, man. So you hold the G open. And then we built that song. It was kind of a serendipity moment where it just kind of came together. As long as the song took was how long it. And luckily somebody had the phone going. I think it was Dave Reese, probably. Knowing Dave.
What was, I mean, coming off that EP, which was a great EP, and then going into this, where was the direction you wanted to go with the music? What did you want to accomplish with this album?
I wanted it to be uplifting. I wanted the songs because the world at that time when I was writing these songs was in and it still is, in such a space where it needs that I feel as many songs as possible that are uplifting and remind everybody that we can get through it and that we're better together, we're stronger together, and that if we come together we can do greater things. That's the whole there's a way out. The way out is love, and I love that concept because it's like being the change. That song, Be the Change, is keep the promise of love, and that is such a statement in itself, because I think that that's the key, and if we as my band, my project comes from that space, then I see it. I could really get behind that. I could really put my heart into that every performance, and it's not going to ever burn out and get old for me. I'm not just singing some song to make a quick buck or get popular or whatever. It's all positive.
Yeah, I think, it's important to kind of get balance in one's life. When you have a lot of negativity, and you're seeing it, all day long, and you're hearing about it, you almost force yourself into a positive way of thinking, right? I mean, it's like because the mind can only handle so much negativity.
Absolutely.
And you need to get a way out. And with the title of the album, There's Always a Way Out, it can mean so many things to so many different people, and it can mean so many different things to what is going on in life and in the world. There's always a way out of the negativity. Force yourself to be positive. I'm sure there's other meanings for it for you, but how did that? What did that positivity mean for you?
The positivity, I mean, it brought me out of those songs when I listen to them, and I try not to oversaturate myself with them so they're always fresh, right? Mm-hmm. And I listen, I'm like, wow, man, it's always at the perfect time, because it's like when I'm down, maybe I'm burnt out because I'm doing full-time work at the same time as I'm working two bands that I have equal passion for, it's when I listen to One Day Closer to Tomorrow, that song is like, that song for me, or Footsteps of the Painted One probably is equally as important. It just brings me out of the funk, man. That's kind of what I get too from people. They just tell me, I had a guy tell me that it's, this is strange, but I love him. Dano, shout out from New York, and I'll let him know I said this. He said, listening to your album on vinyl is like being wrapped in my grandmother's warm blanket. And I was like, I don't know how to handle that comment, but I'm sure it's a good one.
No, that's a good comment. That totally is a good comment,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. if you heard the whole thing, you know, I sorry, Dano, I didn't do you justice on your beautiful adulation, but you know, that song was, it was kind of needed at the time. I was going through some really dark moments, just listening to too much news on both sides of the spectrum, you know, and thinking, oh my God, this is, you know, the world's all bad or whatever. How do I look at myself and think my life's any better? So I just started writing from a personal perspective. And I remembered being out there, you know, I remembered being on the streets and having my hard days. And I remembered what it took. I was like, you know, if I fall down, I'll pick myself up again. And that was the first song on the album that we wrote together. And we've got 4 unreleased songs that we recorded, lined up and ready to go for the next one. I can't wait for us to put more material together. We've actually got 3 other songs written together as well that are pretty cool.
I really enjoyed "We Is Greater Than Me."
Thank you.
I just love the whole vibe. It's a great tune. The guitar work is tremendous on it, and you can't help but feel good listening to it.
Man, I really appreciate that. I just heard from my friend, and he's a photographer here in Seattle, wrote me about an hour ago, and he's like, man, I'm just listening to your vinyl, and I think my favorite new song right now is "We Is Greater Than Me." That song is just killer. And that meant a lot to me because he's, you know, I've always kind of looked for his, you know, I don't know, his approval. Because when I first got into the scene, I set my eyes on the folks that I knew I had to have in my pocket, and that was one of them. It's kind of a cool moment today.
Where does the name of the album come from?
Always a Way Out. Dave Reese came up with that. I think that's his perspective on our what MTR Project has. Maybe kind of like a scope of the entire work, because every song is like they all lean on each other, you know. They don't stand alone. I like that about the album too. It's like when we left out the 4, it was like, it wasn't because they were scratch. It was because it didn't make sense with the rest of everything else and what the rest of the songs were telling the audience, right? So we held back the other 4 because it's kind of it's like the next chapter. I was like, well, that's the next chapter, and it's great. It's going to be really good. And you know, there's one thing that I learned in that recording session, and that is, it's really cool to have kids sing on it. I had a choir of kids singing on "We Is Greater Than Me." At the end, they're going, whoa, all the kids in the house anyways. Andy's kid, Brody, and little Liam Reese. Yeah, it was cool. Added the crowd feel, you know.
Does the title of the track, you know, mean anything personal to you? I know you said, you know, David, you know, came up with the title, but, you know, as I mentioned before, it can mean so many different things to so many different people. What does it mean to you?
Oh man, I think that's going to be a living title where I'll always read it and it'll mean something different to me depending on what I'm going through, you know, because there's always a way out of every situation. But sometimes you don't want to find your way out, you know, it just depends. Sometimes it's good.
As far as the writing on this album, you know, you came, like we mentioned, the EP, that more or less, you know, really kind of bared your soul on that EP. and we talked about the growth of for you and the band, and the writing. As you look back at these songs that are on the latest EP and you compare them to that first EP, what are the differences that you feel? What do you think of the music and where it went after the debut?
I think it was exactly the direction of where we were going. We were more mature. I definitely feel like we had a better sense of each other, right? We knew where our capabilities were, and we pushed each other to get farther and reach for something better. Beautiful Snake is a perfect example of that. And that was all Andy, just pushing the whole band. He's like, come on, guys, let's do something more complex, let's really push it. And, I'll say it in an interview. I don't care. My own criticism. Probably put too many vocals on that because I can't freaking do that live. I'm a huge stickler on doing it. If I can't do it live, I don't want to do it. But I loved how it sounded, so I just left it. I was like, man, it sounds cool. Just leave it that way. But it was a beautiful experience. I can't say anything bad about any process. We're in the midst of doing another, so obviously it was good. We're looking for the right shows. We're looking for the right audience to put this music in front of, and it's hard to do when we're just playing locally. So we're reaching for bigger and higher stages, definitely.
What when you talk about reaching those new heights, where do you see the band going?
Oh man, it's for MTR. I mean, I've finally come to realize that's my solo gig, man. It's Martin Thomas Reed. It's not going anywhere. I think that as long as I'm rising, no matter what, and what I'm leading up to is I have a secondary project that I just got hired onto called Thread, and that's with Jeff Noble from Clover Jane, James Beasley, he's on the drums, and we got Mike Kiesel on the bass. And it's a totally different animal. But we are already going. I'm just gonna say that we're gonna be playing straight out the gate as direct support for national acts, and it's gonna be people like Foghat and stuff like that.
But as far as the MTR project, because that's very personal to you, because it's
absolutely
it's your band. I mean, this music stacks up to any emerging band that's out there in terms of just the music, the writing, the songs. And I think, in my opinion, I'm going to be a big cheerleader for it. It does need to be heard. This does need to be taken on the road. I mean, is that something that you see happening, or is that just going to be, is this just going to be something that, is yours and kind of stays under the roof?
Yeah. I want that so badly. It's for my project. It's that band. It is very unique situation where we're also spread apart, and everybody has, like Dave is he's a producer for the Seattle Seahawks, and Andy builds guitars for the biggest stars in the world. And he's booked out for years. Try to get a guitar from him, you're going to have to pay an arm and a leg, and it's worth it, by the way, but you're going to pay it, because he's got so many people buying from him. And Mike is a very valuable asset for a computer company. I don't really know what he does, but he's very, very important for that company. So, and it's hard to ask guys to walk away from that. That is, my guys, we all talk about going on tour and whatnot, but when push comes to shove, we got to get into the room and rehearse. We got to do the work that it takes, to go beyond just being recording artists and local performing band.
When you think of the songs that you've done on this album, and you think of kind of the dynamic of the band,
mm-hmm.
do you feel it gives you guys a little bit more freedom to kind of do what you want? You don't have that, going on tour pressure over your head. You can kind of just organically, write these songs and record these songs and kind of do what you want.
I mean, yeah. And it's all self-produced and it's just for the love of music. That's what I really, really love about my core. These guys are my core. Dave Reese, Mike Hommel, Andy Beach, Brody Reese. He's become like my little brother, even though he tweaks my amp out on stage all the time. And I look at him like, what the hell are you doing, man? Get your hands off my amp. But I love him, he's a little Andy Beach, but he's, all the guys, every single one of them, I just actually broke the news to him about 2 weeks ago about Thread and where that's going and what we're doing. And at first they were really worried, but I told them there's no reason to be worried. We're the MTR, and I'm telling everybody, MTR Project's going nowhere. We're just getting started. I just have 2 bands now, and they're both kick ass.
Like I mentioned with the first EP, you really kind of bared your soul on it. Putting songs together and writing lyrics. You write with experience. You write the experiences that you have, and as you keep growing as a musician and life kind of moves forward, the experiences are different. Where did some of the inspiration come for some of the lyrics on this album?
Boy, it's almost like a timeline when I think of it that way. But it's in reverse, strangely. The last song I wrote when I was on the streets, and it was one of the songs I would play street performing all the time. And it would always change too. The lyrics never actually stuck until I got into the studio and finally put it onto the microphone. I didn't bring paper or anything. But that song was written, the music, everything, and the concept was coming down was written on the streets. And it was written from a weird perspective of like myself talking to my kids who I was absent from, and then my kids talking back to me in the chorus, like, when are you coming down? When are you coming home? I still need you, all that good stuff. It's it was a beautiful, beautiful experience writing that out there, because it was actually getting to hear it as a full band coming to life, and it breathed some healing into that. And now I'm a part of my kids' lives as much as I can be. Thank God for that.
Does that, when you think of where you came from and how you have persevered, do situations like that continue your healing, continue to inspire you?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad I never wrote from a dark place. I always wrote in a dark place, but I wrote songs to pull me out of that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not feeling too good right now, so I'm going to write something that's going to pull me out of it. And I'm grateful for that, because I think it would be actually harmful over time if I wrote out my feelings that I was feeling, because I could have gone that route. I think I have versions of songs still on my laptop that are the same music, but it's just kind of like almost like a victim standpoint. And I'm like, no, man, I'm a victor. I claim victory over this. And so I changed the perspective, and the song took a whole different spin. Thank goodness.
When you think of how you write, and you're in a room and you're writing stuff for you, for getting out of a dark place, like you just mentioned, how when is the moment that you realize you've got to write a song to pull you out of something?
Oh man, as soon as I pick up when I don't feel like playing, that's when I know something's wrong. When I don't feel like picking up my guitar or singing, I'm like, okay, what's going on? And so I'll go and I'll pluck around for a bit and play some chords and try to put something together that I haven't before. And once I find something that I'm like, yeah, then all of a sudden there's like a spark, and I'm like, oh man, this is, and then I forget about whatever funk I was in, and the song emerges from there. It's kind of like planting the seed, and I take it from that position to my bandmates, and then we bring it from there to a structured song with beginnings, middle, and an end. I tend
as far
to.
As the lyrics go for this album, were you the primary writer for all the songs?
For all the lyrics, yes, but me and Andy wrote most of the new stuff for the guitar work, and we would write songs together, and then we would bring it to the room and show the guys, and they would gravitate towards a certain hook, and then we'd figure out what worked. And sometimes we'd come with something that I thought was fire, and then let's play it real loud, and Mike Hom will, no, this is real quiet, and then we try it that way, and it was brilliant. So definitely a collaboration on everybody's part.
When you put the EP in your rearview mirror and you're starting to write music for this LP, first, are there any songs that you're bringing to this session, to this moment, that you had written, previously during that EP session? And the second question, where do you see, or where do you feel, you mentioned how comfortable you guys are getting with each other and how, the direction, but in terms of the sound and the subject, where do you think is your biggest growth as an artist?
Man, that's a hell of a question. Being able to give space and let things breathe, not having to, trusting the other bandmates to fill the space and do my part. Just do my part. I don't have to do it all. I was busking street performing for years, right? So I did it all. I would even tap out the rhythm on the dang acoustic, and I don't have to do it all anymore. So that's the biggest growth for me personally. Also, I'm playing a lot better guitar after playing with Andy for almost 3 years. The guy brings out the best in me.
And like I said, as far as the music goes, in terms of the songs, did any of these songs that are on this album, were any of them part of that EP session?
Yeah. Let's see. Opposing Voices. And we actually did that separate from the rest of that was the only song on the EP that we recorded directly from our rehearsal space. And I actually like the way that one came out the best, to be honest, for the EP, Opposing Voices. The sound of that opening guitar riff and then the rhythm that kicks in, it just really sounds warm to me. then what else was on there? The Only Real Peace is Death, and Andy did that from his house, but that was a jump over from the EP. Then we had, let's see, Footsteps of the Painted One, and I think that's it. Just, we put 3 on there. I might be missing one, and forgive me if I am, but I think that's it.
And how do you stay connected to that stuff, that you've written a while back, and you bring it into another session, you bring it into another recording for an album?
That's a great question as well. We had Don remix and remaster those songs, and he brought it to life in a different way. He brought out sounds that we weren't hearing before. Dumbed down some of the things that might have been overpowering. We felt on the EP, and brought things to the front that we felt should have been. After listening to it for a year, we were like, well, this could be a little bit better, and that's what hit the album. So it's not the same song; it's a little bit different.
As far as, we next steps, you've got your other band, you've got your other project, and you've got some music for MTR. When do you anticipate going back in the studio and recording more music? Will it be for an EP, an album, or will it just be single related? What's the plan?
For MTR, I want to do another album, but I'm probably going to leave that a little bit secret on how we release that. And same with Thread. But we're going to record the same way that we did before. But Andy actually built a studio. And this is for MTR Project. He built a studio in his house, in the same space that we were working in his wood shop. It's really nice. It's world class. The carpentry levels is incredible, and that's going to be done. I don't know when. We're just gonna. There's no rush. I feel right now the concentration for MTR Project is getting out on the road and sharing the songs that we've done. Because we do have a full another album's worth of material written right now. But I'd like to get out there and play it first with them before we just jump into the studio. I think that would be a great way for it to grow. As far as Thread goes, we're going into Robert Lang Studios probably in September. That's going to be freaking fun. That's one of my dream studios. It's built into the side of a cliff in Seattle, like iconic place. Foo Fighters is recorded there, among others, Nirvana, Soundgarden. It's a great place to get into that zone and really feel like you're in the right spot. We're gonna be recording that with Zachariah Dodge. That's the band manager for Thread, as well as our sound engineer. And he's one of the sound engineers for Bob Lang, and also works as the sound engineer for Central Saloon, which is a really cool place in Seattle. It's one of my favorite spots to play. So actually, Zach was the guy that called me. He was like, Marty, we really need you. I was like, all right, man, I'll come out and give it a shot. And I went out and sung with them, and it clicked. It's the same chemistry as MTR Project, but like I said, it's a totally different sounding music. The only thing that sounds the same is me.
How important is it for you to stay connected to Seattle?
I love Seattle. I was raised here. I grew up here. I have so much connection to the music that has come out of here. But I see myself definitely eventually, I don't know. I can't even put, I'm such a free spirit, Jay. I just kind of go with it at this point. And I tell my closest friends, so I'll tell you, I just put my feet in front of the other. And as long as I know I'm walking, I'm going where the universe has already laid out my path, and I just got to keep moving. And, but I don't know if I don't have any like direct emotional ties where I'm like, I got to be in Seattle and this is where I got to come out of. None of that.
Because your perspective in the music, and you talk about a lot of things that are familiar to you within that area.
Absolutely.
And, you are a product of those influences, right? I mean, so I imagine, having that base where you're from, especially Seattle, which is a great music city, has to be important to you as an artist and your evolution moving forward.
Definitely. It definitely is. I have amazing opportunities often to meet some of my biggest heroes, and that's because they go out to the shows, and they make their presence. They support the local bands that they love, and just like I see myself doing in the future. I don't see myself shying away. I'm still the guy that gets whiplash from the opening band, and then I'm like up there going, damn, for my own performance. But, everybody's like, dial it back. And I look at them all crazy, like, yeah, right. And this is me being me. I'm not going to change. I don't see that. And I don't see myself changing my feelings for Seattle. I've been fully accepted and adopted by some of the biggest names that I could think of, and the media, they're great. Some of my closest friends were just at the Emmy Awards last night because they were nominated, and actually I haven't had a chance to look and see if they won, so I'm not going to let their names known in this interview. I don't want to say it unless I know, but that would be cool if they won. I'd be so happy for them.
And that has to make you feel good too, because, you have, come back and persevered through some very difficult situations, and, you're writing incredible music. You're playing with incredible musicians, and your work is, moving forward to more and more acceptance on a day-to-day basis. That in itself is success.
Yeah, thank you, man. I have to start putting my mind into that grateful mode all the time, because I was speaking to other artists, and one thing you do know about me, Jay, is I wear my heart on my sleeve, and this is where my mind's at right now. I sometimes feel like discouraged or whatever, and I'm like, man, this is starting to move slow, and or I'll be overwhelmed because I feel and it's all self-put pressure, but I feel all this pressure to do a better song. And when I hear people tell me stuff like what you just said, it's like, man, it's good. It makes me, it puts me to a spot where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going to explode, and I know I'm speaking for other artists when I say that as long as that artist's head isn't already freaking huge, you can't blow us up enough, because we're all really, for me, my experience, I'm a very sensitive individual, and I'm always hoping, but not sure if I'm landing the mark. I give and bear a certain part of my soul, and I'm like, damn, it's a vulnerable spot, you're like, shoot, did that land? So thank you for letting me know.
It's definitely landing, my friend. I will tell you that. from a almost 50-year-old here in Chicago, it's definitely landing, and it sounds good. The music's good, and it's nice. I always enjoy when you hear a debut and then they follow up, and it's you can hear that evolution. You can hear that the greatness being formed within the tunes, within the music, and the next step has been reached, and it definitely has with Always a Way Out with the LP that you guys just released.
I can't wait for you guys to hear the next album title. We've already got it, but I'm going to keep it secret. It's
the way I look at it is like today we're one step closer to you actually playing Chicago. I don't know when it's going to be, but we're one day closer to that happening.
Man, I can't wait for it. And honestly, I was just and my bandmates will know, I was just lighting a little fire under their butts in the earlier part of our interview. Yeah, we're going on the road. And it was a little reminder to MTR, tour very soon. Yeah.
Well,
but we're going to go to Brazil. I really want to go play there. We got some super fans up in Brazil, man.
South America, man, is really hungry for rock music.
Oh my gosh, yeah. One of my closest fans, because I call him the closest. He's become a friend. He got MTR tattooed on the inside of his arm. He sent it. I was like, damn, dude, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's great. Man.
I told him I talked him into it, and I didn't think he was going to do it. So, Paulo, I will do it. But I was like, yeah, man, if you get a tattoo of MTR, I'll do it. And then the next day he freaking had it. And I was like, holy smokes, man. He did it.
That's a big fan right there. That's a dedicated individual.
Oh, man. And he's dedicated to that early Seattle sound. That's huge in Brazil right now. I can't tell you. And also Indonesia's, they really love that. It's kind of like a Zakk Wylde, not to be a cliche with Andy Beach, but like Black Label Society heaviness with like a Alice in Chains thing,
I hear it. Absolutely.
That's what it reminds me of. I'm probably shooting myself in the foot telling the world.
No, that's a great. It's kind of like, for me, it's Black Label meets Alice in Chains.
Yeah, dude, sweet.
What it is, man.
Similar perspective there.
Oh yeah, you can definitely hear it.
Yeah, it's that our stuff that we're going to be doing. It's a lot of alternate tunings. It's kind of the footsteps of the Painted One direction. It's going to be, I don't know. That's the beauty, because I want to tell you guys what it's going to be like, but I don't freaking know till we record it. It's exciting.
Well, it is exciting, man. I mean, the new band or the other side project you have, and then the new album, more material. It's all good for you and MTR. And man, I'm just a fan, just going to be waiting for the new stuff to come out.
Oh man, there's going to be like 30 songs within the next 2 years. That's between it's going to be great. I want to put out at least 5 albums as in MTR, and likewise with Thread. So if not, many more. So it's gonna be awesome.
Definitely will be, man.
My best friends, and you can't replace family, especially when there's that kind of chemistry,
Agreed. Absolutely, 100%. Martin, it has been a blast talking to you about the new music, the new album. Thanks again for doing this, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jay. As always, like it's an honor. What you do for rock and roll is is par to none. Nobody's doing what you're doing. Well, I mean, you did have Eddie Trunk, and when you said his name, I was like, well, that's like the only other guy I could think of, that is as cool as you when it comes to, what you do. So thank you.
I'm humbled by that comment, man. I am very humbled by that. So thank you for those kind words. Undeserving, but thank you for those words.
Not at all. I listen to as many episodes as I can.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
And actually, every episode that you mentioned in the earlier part of the interview, before we got into it, I've heard. And so I thought that was pretty cool. It's like, yep, I've heard that one. I was sitting there nodding the whole time.
Well, dude, that means so much. And thank you again for being a guest for the second time. Thank you for your music. Thank you for, your support, man. I appreciate it.
Likewise. Totally. I mean, it's without words, I can't express it. Like you have lit a fire under me and my people. Everybody is like that interview. The first interview was a catapult for us. It really helped us to set ourselves apart here locally. So I again, thank you. Especially thank you. It's so cool.
It's for me, it's all about the new bands, and it's all about the emerging rock scene. So any little sliver of help that I can do for any band at any time, without question, is always on the table.
Absolutely.
Well, hey man, thank you very much. Everyone, the new album is Always a Way Out. You can get it on mtrproject.com. You can get the vinyl and the digital, which is really cool. More bands should be doing that. Anytime you buy a vinyl, they should throw in the digital, and MTR does that. You can find them on all social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Check them out, man. Like I said, Alice in Chains meets Black Label. Martin Reed, one of the great new guitar players that are out there, and always a awesome guest. Thanks, Martin. And this is Jay Scott. This is The Hook Rocks. Take care of each other. We'll talk soon.